We're recording this in our fftug.com trading room. We're talking about support and resistance horizontals. We're on NG this morning, and it's May 10th. We had a lot of fun on the rundown here, and we had a couple of members in discussion with what we were looking at, and they had some successful trades. What we also had happening is we had a topic of believing in the fibs, and trusting them, and some days it's easier than others, of course, so we want to keep this here fairly short. But what we have on our chart is EMA 21, the blue line, the SMA 50, and the SMA 200. That's all I use for moving averages. Now, you have to trade your plan, and you use what works for you. So if it's EMA 13 or an EMA 8, and say you use a 13 and an SMA 20, well, that's fine. So what we're looking at is, here's our target that we were discussing in the room earlier. So once we have support and resistance, or resistance, support or resistance, how's that? Then you can take your trade. And I have a little bird in the background here. Sorry if it's a distraction to you, but maybe it'll just add to some life of the video that we don't normally have. So here, we made it, and just as simple as that, right there. So this is from a fib combination. It's just support and resistance. Support and resistance. You can see it at every one of these designations. Support and resistance. Sorry, I'm all over the map there. So I'm looking for support and resistance. In this case, it's a red line. They're not all red. Make it a little bigger, easier to see, and voila. So this here was support, but so was this one. This here became resistance, and it breaks support. This here became resistance, goes to your next target, just like that. So we can analyze the poop out of this. It is not difficult. Having the conviction of actually putting on the trade after you've been burnt a few times, I can see some hesitation, and that's all valid. Same thing here. We're just going to double this up, and since it's also red, let's go right here. So now that we came down to our next target area, and this here was our target area earlier that we were talking about, and the guys in the room took some trades, and they were positive. One would scalp, the other was a bit of a trender. They both actually wound up making about the same amount of money because they got out a little bit early, and there's nothing wrong with that. They did not let good trade go bad, and when there was hesitation and fake outs, they got out. And that's all valid stuff. Now, in this year recording, we wanted to show you a little bit of what had happened earlier, and then we're going to give you another target, and we'll see if we can do this play by play. Now, this here is on the move, and actually the time of day, this is Eastern. So the time of day, we did get a little bit of movement, and in about an hour and a half from now, we will maybe make another recording, short blurb that can cover that segment of the day, because we also get a fair amount of action. It's been noted by one of the members in the room that has been a long time follower of NG, and he knows a lot. Maybe he'll pop into the room a little bit later, and if we can, we'll pick his brain on a few of these ins and outs here. So what we have, what we discussed earlier, and you can see this here kind of looks messy, but if you look at what I'm seeing, here's my chart on the real time. It's not too bad, but it's a little bit messy. I apologize. We have a MACD at the top, and we just read the histogram the best we can, and try not to lose sight of trade what's in front of you. Not you. You have to let the market tell you what it's going to do, and then according to your trading plan, capitalize on those moves. So you saw I put fibs on. We can go over that after a little bit, but just right now we just want to look at some horizontals and support and resistance. And it doesn't matter what the fib, it doesn't matter what the instrument, it doesn't matter whether you're using a day chart or a minute chart or somewhere in between. If I didn't have 1 minute here on the left hand side, you wouldn't know necessarily. Well, I guess you could look at the clock at the bottom, but if you didn't see the clock at the bottom, and you didn't see that this is a 1 minute candle chart, and you didn't see the price action over here, would it really matter to look at support and resistance without any of that other data coming in? It wouldn't really matter. So I want to just pick your brain here just for a second. I want you to think about just one little thing here. You see here we have two red lines, pretty easy to see, and we're going to call those support and resistance. You can see the price came down, it hesitated, it came up, it came down, hesitated, it broke through, it came down, it's hesitating. Now I want you to look at this your neat little idea. Just get some horizontals on your chart, and don't worry if they're in the wrong spot. It's not a big deal. They just have to be on your chart so you can have an idea of reading them. Now let's just grab this year line. We've been using this year line throughout most of the day, and we just put it about halfway. And again, there's no right and wrong to this. Just pick about halfway. That looks halfway. That looks halfway. Let's just put it there and see what becomes of this. Excuse me. What we have on here is some little arrowheads. You call them triangles. What we have are these arrowheads or butting heads here. Okay? Bulls and bears are butting heads, and we get this here sideways action until one of them wins out. and then you get a bit of a breakout. Well, sometimes our breakout will only go so far, and then that's all it was. It's just a momentary indecision that broke and went in a direction. We like to look at these here long tails and say, okay, this here's a turn, and after the decision we can normally see some sort of retracement. Like I say, even if it's only momentary. So right now, if we just, and it doesn't matter what kind of line you use, doesn't matter the color, we just have this here on here as a line to try and determine whether we're going the chance of going to our next target. And you can do this at any point, because they very rarely ever go a straight line to target. So and this line is just a line. It's just a line drawn in the sand, and you can see how once you put your horizontals on, how significant. See, it didn't even have to be in the right place. Okay, I've been doing this here for a little while, so I sometimes get lucky and get them in the right spot. Try to move this over. Okay, so once this is resistance, it's a lot safer to go short. That's a little different bird. Sorry about that. And you look at your price and you say, is there enough room here to scalp a little? Okay. You'll mostly find there's lots of room and there's lots of time. Now we want to look at a couple other things. One is your divergence. Okay. And you can see here your divergence is greater between your moving averages. Okay. And when this here is showing like it does, you can project that we'll likely go short. And we may not go all the way here, so you take what you are comfortable with. Okay. This is often a turnaround area when you have a long wick or a tail, and you'll often get a turnaround. But what we want to see is we want to see this line down here just move this over, become support or resistance. And so far it's been support. Right? So just say this here price does not go all the way to this line. Say it stops right where it is. So just say it stopped right here. Well, I'd look at this and I'd say this is support, maybe only momentary, but I'd also say that this is support if it stopped there, right there. And what do we know from that? We'd say that's a higher low, and we may turn around. There's lots and lots and lots of factors that you have to consider. Okay. Now we're going to show you one thing you have to consider is your direction. And we've been trending down for quite some time, most of today. Right? So for this here to become a higher low, they can't break down through like we want them to. We want them to break down through. We want to see, and you could just, okay? So one thing here is this one became resistance. This was support for a moment. Then it's resistance, and then it's support. And now it's resistance. Now this is resistance. And so on. Now we're looking for this support right here to become resistance right here. Okay? That's just as easy as it is. So, as I said on the way up, if this is support and this held, this would be support right here. This distance between here and here would make a higher low. Same thing on this side. If this is resistance, then this little gap is more divergence, it's more resistance. Right? It's a better signal to go short than right here. I hope that's clear. Right? This is a nice signal to take a short because you have two red candles. You have your line in the sand, which isn't too bad. It looks pretty good. And you take a short, and it comes right back on you. Right? So this here little bit of a gap tells me that this is a better entry. But maybe you took one or two ticks here, and your trade was a positive, and nobody's going to beat you up for that. You had a nice positive trade, okay? So same thing in mind, that what we had here is support. Now what we want to see is it become resistance, and we can head to our next target, short, okay? Excuse me. Now they may frig around here a little bit, but if you want to know more, go to fftug.com. We'll go over this here till you can't take it anymore. All right. So we kind of need another target, and